I was away for 1 week, and Grand Blue Fantasy Relink rises from the ashes out of fucking nowhere. What the fuck? If you like playing Monster Hunter, this game is Fantasy Monster Hunter, and you need to play this now. They said that after the 3rd update, this game would be done. No more updates whatsoever, and all of a sudden, we get a fucking equivalent of a Master Rank DLC. A new tier of monsters, Beelzebub, which is a brand new boss that you can fight in Grand Blue Versus, a new tier of quests, which is equivalent to like 11 stars in Monster Hunter. They're called the Chaos tier quests, which give you more in-game fantasy because you can buff your character's skills. Summons, aka playable bosses, crossplay, a feature that turns the game into a roguelike, which is called Conflicts mode, new characters, including the best character in all of Grand Blue. Of course, this shit had to be announced on the one Nintendo Direct where I was on holiday. Fuck me. Listen, I'm a huge Grand Blue Fantasy fan. I've been playing since, like, the little fucking gacha on the phone. I know, Ark played a gacha. It's sad, I know. And I've been keeping my love for this franchise alive by every now and then hopping on the fighting game Grand Blue vs. Rising, which, by the way, also has BEATRIX. That's, like, one of the biggest reasons as to why I play that game. Depending on how long you've been subscribed to the channel, you might even remember this game because this is the only game that got a dedicated waifu video outside of Monster Hunter. Yes, that's how much I love this game. This is like the Lords of the Fallen thing all over again. Guys, listen to me when I tell you, do not skip out on this game. It is essentially a fantasy Monster Hunter game. You go, like, with up to a party of 4 people. It can be bots or it can be friends, it doesn't matter. You can also do solo. You take down a boss and you use its materials to craft, like, better gear. It's the same gameplay loop. There are differences, obviously, but the gameplay loop is essentially the same. I don't want to spoil it too much because there's a lot in there that I want you guys to find out for the first time. But anyway, let's go over every single feature that Endless Ragnarok is going to add onto the game because this shit is nuts. Apocalyptic monsters. This is essentially an Arch-Tempered Plus monster tier. It's a tier above anything else that you've had in the base game already, and the base game gets quite difficult, trust me. So now you're having a tier that says, fuck you, here's something harder. Okay, that's gonna be fun, or potentially, you know, heartbreaking. And then we have Beelzebub as a new boss. Now, I don't know much about this guy, so I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm, oh, so hyped about it. But I do know this guy from the fighting game. I'm going to be making quite a lot of references to the fighting game. I'm not sorry. We're going to get a new tier of quest called the Chaos tier, which is essentially going to enable the players to have more in-game fantasy. From what I can see, you can essentially do those quests and gather materials or points from those quests to increase the damage or just power or whatever of whatever skill you want for your character. And there's like 20 plus characters, so you got a lot to keep your hands busy. What's worth mentioning is that each character is essentially its own class, so you know how you have like 14 weapons in Monster Hunter, 14 different weapon classes. In this game, it's the equivalent of having 20 plus unique classes. There will be some overlaps here and there, but essentially every character plays its own style. Then we got the summons, and this is, there's no sugarcoating it, they are playable bosses. It is pretty cool to see how, you know, they're throwing all of these new difficulty tiers towards you, but they're also giving you this brand new tool, which is insane because some of these bosses are like really cool. Like, take a look at this armored spirit centaur, and then you have this giant goblin, or a cat. This just sounds so cool because right off the top of my head, there's so many bosses that could be in this thing, and they all look so amazing. I just can't wait to get my hands on some of these bosses. We also got crossplay. Heaven above, some developers actually listen. Thank you, Cygames. I've said this so many times. I think crossplay is like the future of gaming. I think that we should move away from, you know, console exclusives, but I say this as a consumer. I know that they are pretty much a better, you know, selling point, a unique selling point for consoles. But man, I'm just so happy that games like Monster Hunter have taken to crossplay, and now Cygames is taking Grand Blue Fantasy Relink into that as well. It's huge. It's actually an insane W. From Software, learn this, because if Night Rain was crossplay, you would have seen so many more players. You then have this new Conflicts mode. Now, the Conflicts mode is actually essentially a pseudo-roguelike. You will go through dungeons of harder and harder difficulties, and it will allow you to upgrade your characters kind of faster, which is great because although I love this game, the end game grind was insanely time consuming. Like, I'm talking Monster Hunter 1 levels of tier consuming. You had to sink hundreds of hours. And keep in mind, like I said, there's 20 plus characters now, and you know, if you want to if you want to play with more than one, because each character is essentially their own class, you're gonna sink a lot of time into this game. So this is actually a really good thing. I really want to try this out because it will make leveling up characters easier from the looks of it, but you know, we have to actually get our hands on it to give it a try. But then we get to the creme de la creme, which are the new characters. Like I said, the characters are pretty much their own individual classes, so no character is kind of alike. you're getting Beatrix, Eustace, Magliel, and Galanza. And these are only the characters that they've announced. There could be more. But I need to take a moment here to talk about Beatrix, because if you are hearing this name and you think it sounds familiar, then maybe you remember what I said in that waifu video I did for Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. Play the clip.
Wow, I didn't know I inspired you so much. Guess being your favorite isn't that bad.
Oh, you're not my favorite.
What?
Yeah, I'm more of a Beatrix kind of guy. She's kind of like you and Zeta combined. I deserve that.
Beatrix definitely falls into like top 3 waifus of all time for me. She is so cool. She's like the autistic knight of the society. I don't want to spoil too much of the lore because there's quite a lot of interesting lore in Grand Blue, but she is essentially part of a group of knights and she wields a sword called Embrusk. To give you a taste of how strong this woman is, here's what her ultimate skill looks like in the fighting game. That's my wife! You know, I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. Fuck the other 3 characters, I want to talk about Beatrix. She has a gimmick called the Delta Clock. Now, in the fighting game, this is basically used to, you know, slow down your opponent so that you have larger windows to attack them. But in Relink, what essentially this does is buff your character. Every single time you use one of her unique moves, the clock will spin. Depending on where it lands, it will give you a buff. It could be like more healing, more defenses, more attack damage, anything like that. And when the clock is fully done, you essentially get a massive attack speed buff that turns her into this offensive powerhouse. And as you guys saw earlier, that's kind of what she does. Let me explain Beatrix in Monster Hunter terms. She is a switch axe. Listen, I know I've been screaming into the mic and the poor microphone's probably popped multiple times, even with the pop filter, but I just can't stress enough how much I love this game. When Relink released, it was like seeing a gem among the rubble. It was this incredible universe that I already knew in a brand new light, and other people could see it and join the fun. Kind of like what Space Marine 2 did for Warhammer, because I was a newcomer to the Warhammer series with Space Marine 2. It's kind of like the Monster Hunter world of Grand Blue. Like the Elden Ring of Grand Blue. It's a game that I was hoping was gonna bring it to a wider audience and get more people to support this amazing universe. And dude, I was really disappointed to see how maybe it was because like they didn't turn in the profits that they wanted to at Cygames, but the game kind of got dropped. I don't know why. They had such a good update cycle for the game, but after a while they just decided to just let it go. And it broke my heart because actually the fighting game, Grand Blue vs. Rising, still gets updates and new characters to this day. In fact, the newest character got announced like, what, less than a month ago? So it's obvious that there's a lot of passion behind this universe, and I really wanted to see the passion that was being pumped into Versus, you know, the fighting game, into Relink, but I kind of gave it up. But I can't believe that in 2026, the devs actually recognize that, you know, we like the game, we want to see more of it, and they are delivering more. It is just such a beautiful, huge W for gaming in 2026. It is immeasurable to a Grand Blue fan such as myself. So please listen to me when I tell you that if you're a Monster Hunter fan, you are very likely to enjoy this game if you like fantasy or just more anime aesthetics, or if you want an addicting and similar and, you know, familiar kind of hunting gameplay loop. This is for you. You're gonna enjoy it. It might take some time to adjust. After all, this isn't another Monster Hunter game. It's its own thing. But I implore you to give it a try because I want this game to be huge. I want there to be sequels. I want more Grand Blue. Go check out the game. Y'all know the drill. Stay safe, and until we meet again.